we're going to start with Warriors Timberwolves,
We did start
and
with this
Warriors got the dub
We did
without
watch this
Steph
game.
Curry for most of the game.
Yeah, Steph had 13 points early, and then hamstring strain, so he didn't play the rest of the game, and is going to miss the next 3 games at least. Probably just those games, but I don't know when he comes back what kind of capacity he's going to be in, if he's going to be anywhere near full strength or not. But surprising Game 1 win for the Warriors, especially considering Curry goes out. The Timberwolves did not play well. Anthony Edwards did not play well. Another big story is in Game 5 against the Lakers, they didn't shoot the ball well at all from 3, and that continued. I think I saw somewhere they're now like 15% from 3 across their last 2 games, which is ridiculous. Hard to win NBA games when you're shooting that bad from 3. And then Golden State side, another big Buddy Hield game. He's been huge these playoffs. Has shot the 3 ball really well. Hit a bunch of big shots. Draymond does Draymond things. Jimmy Butler gives you 20, 11, and 8. Pretty well-rounded, kind of. I mean, that's, it's like after those guys and kind of pods, it's like you're throwing stuff at the wall and hoping you can find someone to give you quality minutes, whether it's Guy Santos or Kevon Looney or is it Pat Spencer?
Correct.
Jonathan Kuminga got minutes, 13 minutes. But the real story of the game just felt like the Timberwolves not being able to hit any shots. And the Warriors are a team that's going to capitalize on that. So a huge Game 1 win for the Warriors. JP, this is your team, so what do you got?
I don't think it was necessarily missing shots as much as you seem to think.
Down.
I think the Warriors played excellent defensively.
I saw some bad Timberwolves offense in there. I'm not saying that the Warriors played bad defense because they did play great defense, but
I mean, I think holding a team to 88 is not just bad shooting. I think a defense had a ton to do with it, and I think, especially down the stretch, that they played excellent defense in some spots. They had some bad fouls that led to easy and ones, but it was really the leadership from Draymond and Jimmy Butler. Draymond was huge early. He started 4 for 5 from 3, ends 4 for 10, but he had 16 early points. Curry was cooking. It looked like he was going to drop 40, and then he gets hurt. And then Buddy he hit huge shots down the stretch with no hesitation. The Gary Payton minutes were huge. The Kevon Looney was just enormous. He shows up in the stat sheet, 2.6 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. He had tremendous rebounds, 4 defensive, 2 offensive. Kuminga played. Gosh, he was good and bad. I don't know. It was kind of rough to watch. Pat Spencer kind of just ate up minutes, and we'll take that. But for the Warriors, it was a statement win. And even with the severity of Curry's injury, I don't think you can watch that game and think to yourself, oh, we don't have hope in this series, even without Curry. They did it literally for 35 minutes they played without Curry.
yeah.
And we're still able to win the game. So I think they've got a chance now in this series. I still kind of believe it's the Wolves to win or lose, whatever way you want to put it. They have no excuse to not go out and win games 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's just zero excuse whatsoever. They should win this series in 5 every single time. And if they don't, then it's just another statement about them that they're just not ready to take that next step. We saw this last year when they played Dallas. Ant's just tired by the time he gets to the conference finals, and they just don't look like the same team that just beat the Denver Nuggets. And again, here they destroy the Lakers in a series, and then they throw up a clunker for some reason. It's getting interesting, especially with Anthony Edwards. He has these games that just wow you, and then he has a game like last night where he scores 1 point in the first half. And, yeah, he scored 22 late, but a large reason that he was getting those points late was because they were trailing, and Golden State was just trying to play, extend or shorten the game as much as you can and just keep them from being able to get it really close. There were timely threes by the Warriors, too, down the stretch. There's one moment before we're getting in the last 6 minutes, and then we get a Gary Payton 3, we get a Jimmy Butler 3, and a Buddy Hield 3. And that was just a huge little stretch there that kept the Timberwolves really out of it. The only player that I thought played good for the Timberwolves was Naz Reid. He really played well. 3 for 7 from 3. The only guy that shot it well, scored 19 points. Hit the shots that really kind of kept them in the game. But guys like Mike Conley were unplayable. Gobert had some good moments, but realistically, he was kind of bad. Jaden McDaniels, I thought, played his worst game of the postseason so far, especially defensively. He really wasn't a threat at any point, and for the Timberwolves, that's a problem because he has the length and size and physicality and speed that there's nobody on the Warriors that should ever get by him or ever score on him, and he should really just take over the game because he's got that kind of talent, and he just did not.
Sure.
I think the same could be said about Anthony Edwards.
Agreed.
And I don't know, for the Timberwolves, it's kind of an inexcusable loss. To score 31 points in a first half is kind of inexcusable as well. Even if the Warriors are the best defense in the league since adding Jimmy Butler. But yeah, they should be in the driver's seat. There's no excuse to not win this series in 5 games. They just got to go out there and do it and prove they can do it. Otherwise, like I said, it'll just be they're just not ready yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Timberwolves came out very flat in the game and never really picked it up, and I don't know the reason for that. Sure, the Warriors have been a very good defensive team down the stretch, but there's no excuse to play that bad regardless. And especially talking about, like, you talk about Jaden McDaniels being bad defensively, especially with a Curryless Warriors team, there's no reason that the Timberwolves should have trouble shutting down the Golden State offense in the form of, like, a Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, offensive big three. Sure, they'll get some buckets. Jimmy will hit some tough shots. I mean, Buddy's shooting the ball great right now.
He hit the one where he was trying to draw the foul, and then he just banked in his buzzer.
Yeah, sure. But, like, it's nothing that the Timberwolves don't have the personnel to shut down, but they didn't do it in game 1, which I do think a lot of it is when you're shooting that bad and when your offense is getting stymied that bad, it's hard to keep the energy up. I mean, the energy was sucked out of that building by, early second quarter because they just could not score the basketball. Mm-hmm. I expect them to come out a lot stronger in game 2, kind of with a fire lit underneath them. But anytime you can win game 1 on the road is a huge statement, like JP said, and it just sets the tone for the rest of the series. Just greatly, obviously winning any game greatly boosts your odds to win the series. But it's like all of a sudden the Warriors have to find a way to get 3 more, and that's,
Well, I think and I'm going to say pretty similar with the Knicks Celtics, that yesterday just proved to the Warriors that, we can win without Curry. Although Curry was outstanding and his early burst really kind of got the Warriors that 10-point lead and allowed them to be in a spot where they're up 10. But to the Warriors, it kind of proved that, we can beat the Timberwolves without Steph Curry. And that is a huge mental edge for the rest of the series. They're not going to go into games 2, 3, 4, and 5 thinking to themselves, okay, we've got to have a miracle to win another game. No. We just have to play excellent defense. We need Buddy to provide, and we need Jimmy Butler to provide. And if both of those things happen, if we can get a third guy to score in double figures, last night it was Draymond. If that happens, then we're in a spot where we can win any game. I think to the Warriors, and they said this specifically, they've said this a couple times already in the postseason, that if they can hold the opposing team under 100 points, I think the status, they're 13-1 this season when they hold the opposing team under 100 points. And so going into the rest of the series for the Warriors, it's if we can just hold the Timberwolves under 100 points, they think they have a chance. And for Warriors fans, that's the hope. And realistically, they only need to win 1 game to be in a spot where they could potentially win this series for sure.
Yeah.
Until Curry returns, even down 3-2 with Curry returning, that game going to be in Golden State. You have to feel that, we can win that game. And then it's game 7, and the Warriors have, with even this core, a lot of experience in winning those games. and they've actually only lost. They've lost twice. In Steph Curry's career, they've lost a Game 7 twice. Every other time they've won. So they would have a ton of confidence going to Game 7. So for them, it's one, they've got the mental edge, proving to themselves that hey, we can win and beat this Timberwolves team, and even on the road. And two, it's like, well, we just got to win one to get Batman back, as they would say, for Game 6.
Yeah. It's also just they're very much playing with house money. No one expects them to win this series, especially going into it. Maybe some opinions will have changed now. I doubt it, though, just with the Curry injury. But all the pressure's on the Timberwolves to win this series. You get the good draw. You don't have to play OKC in the second round. No excuses for them not to make the conference finals. But here they are down 1-0 and not great start, to the series.
You talked earlier about Edwards, or JP, you said this, how he gets tired like later into the playoffs. Is that because he's doing more on an incomplete team, or is that just like why is that you say that?
I think it was part of it last year. He plays at a high energy and a high pace, but I honestly think it's kind of for him. We give him all this high praise, and we see him do these electric things, but we have to still realize this kid is insanely young to be put on such a high stage. So he's going to have the moments where he overexerts himself, and now he's tired. Last night, you saw that, he realized his shot wasn't falling early, and he even said it in the post-game presser, oh, yeah, I just wasn't shooting well. That was kind of the reason we lost the game. And then he starts kind of letting off the gas pedal, and that's kind of, if you're going to be the leading scorer, if you're going to be the best player on a championship team, you can't do that in the NBA.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you're shooting poorly. We saw this in Game 7 with Steph Curry. He's shooting poorly, and he turns it on in the second half, but he continued to impact the games in other ways, getting rebounds, steals late in the game. To him, he had one turnover in that game, and that was a big goal for him. I'm only going to have one turnover so we can keep ourselves in the game. And for Anthony, he realized he wasn't shooting well, and you could tell that didn't help his effort defensively. And then also, like, he starts hesitating for no reason. He is Kenny Smith said it on the TNT post game. He said Ant is so dangerous when he is attacking the rim to dunk,
Correct.
And then he decides to lay it in. Last night he was attacking the rim to lay it in, and that's why he missed. And then he hesitates on a layup. Yeah. That's why he missed like 3 layups in that game as well. It's just for whatever reason it's the youth. He's just not mature enough yet to understand that.
Yeah.
I don't need to overexert myself in these spots.
22?
He's 23, if 23? I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty 23 is what sounds right to me.
I was gonna say 22 or 23. And like that's incredibly young.
It's a good point. And I do think towards the end of the game we saw him look to get downhill more and be a little more aggressive. Now some of it probably was, the game was a little bit, out of reach, and the Warriors were,
it's too late at that point.
Correct. I agree, but it's something to hopefully he looks to emphasize more in Game 2.
I was about to say that's something we might see in this. Like the way the NBA works, you see these adjustments from game to game. Is I'm sure that the coach will be emphasizing to Anthony that
sure
going downhill is going to be the best way.
As good of a shooter as he's become, I still think that's the best part of his game is as a driver.
And then that opens up the shooting.
Yeah, I mean,
even NBA, you could be shooting 15%. They're not going to miss open threes, wide open threes, most of the time.
Finch said it. He said it. The head coach of the Timberwolves, Chris Finch, he said it like it's got to start with Anthony. He even said in the presser, I shouldn't have to talk to him to tell him these things. He should know as the best player on the team. But like, it's in my opinion, it's inexcusable. He was being guarded by Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And he has 1 point in the first half. That cannot happen.
Yeah.
Buddy played spectacular defense last night, and then turned it on shooting in the second half. But
Anthony Edwards made it easy to play spectacular defense on him.
Agreed. You cannot be getting stopped by Buddy Hield. If it was Jimmy Butler on him, if it's Draymond on him, sure, maybe. That's kind of a fine excuse. But Buddy Hield was shutting him down last night, and that is inexcusable in my eyes.
I agree. Once again, I think we'll see a bounce back in Game 2. I don't think the Timberwolves let themselves go down 0-2 at home. But we'll have to see. I do think also talking about Ant. Last thing I want to say is, he faded last, playoffs postseason, but that was kind of his first run, first deep run in the playoffs. So I'm interested to see how he performs in this one, kind of down the stretch, especially if they make the conference finals. Has he adjusted to that? Because he's not necessarily shown that so far this, in these playoffs, but he still has a lot of games left. Even if they don't end up winning this round, they're still he can kind of flip the script.
In the NBA, you're not guaranteed the next season to be in the same spot to go out and win a championship. And for the Timberwolves, you're in a spot where now Curry is not playing for 4 games. You have no excuse to not win this series. And then with the Nuggets, with how weak they kind of are this year, because they're so Jokic dependent, and you already beat the Nuggets last year, there's no excuse to not beat them. The Thunder are younger than you are, and so you have no excuse to not beat them. They're in a spot where they could be in the NBA Finals very, very easily. They have to go out there and capture it. Like, they have to step up and take advantage of this opportunity, because this does not come around all the time. We saw it with the Phoenix Suns. We thought, okay, they made the finals. They play a competitive series against Milwaukee. Okay, they'll be back next year. Next year, they have the clunker in Game 7. Chris Paul hits the shot to cut the lead to 32. Then next year, they're trading, and Kevin Durant's there, and it doesn't work out, and they lose to Denver. And then the next season, they run it back with Bradley Beal, and they lose to Minnesota. And they are they missed the playoffs, which is just inexcusable.
And now KD wants out.
So you have to take advantage. Not that this is going to happen to the Timberwolves, but you have to take advantage of these opportunities, because they do not come around all the time.
Agreed. And they did not do that in Game 1 at all. At all.